Welcome back to Book by Candace, where I talk about all things books and getting booked. On today's episode, I want to share with you a few books that I read when I started back my reading journey in 2024. They have changed me, they have moved me, they have catapulted me to the place where I am right now, where I'm talking about books on YouTube, where I have read over 200 books in less than 2 years. What a concept. I never would have imagined this would be my life. So I want to share those books with you. You may have read them. Let me know in the comments if you have. If you haven't, what are you waiting for? Are you living under a rock? Well, that's okay because I'm going to lift it so that you can see the lights. Let's get into it. Before I get into the list of books, I just want to share something that's really important for context. When I started reading again, of course, like I said in the first video, it was because my boss said, hey, bring a book. There's a lot of spare time while you're here. And I also realized that I had found myself in a very pessimistic place when it came to love. I had sort of lost my spark and my desire for it, and I knew it's something that I wanted, and I didn't want to lose that fire. So I wanted to start reading books that will help me to imagine these things for myself again. These books have really helped me get back into that place. So the first book, as you guys know, before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Now, this book, it literally was the perfect storm, the just right place, right time to get me into this. It was May 2024. I was scrolling on Twitter, and I don't see book recommendations even to this day on Twitter, but a mutual of mine mentioned it in the tweet. They were talking about the scene in Charlotte. If you know, you know. And I was like, let me check this out. This sounds interesting. This sounds fun. Lo and behold, I was hooked and I have not been let go since. Okay. Before I Let Go tells the story of Yasmin and Josiah. They are divorced, they have two children. And they find themselves back in a collision course with each other. So it's a second chance romance. It's so beautifully written. I love, 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 love it. I love Josiah's journey through therapy to help him to become a better man. I love reading about men who want to make themselves better for their women and their families. And their love was just so sweet and so pure. And it was so cute. Like, I love them sort of sneaking around before they revealed to their children that they were back together. Like stuff like that just gives me like butterflies. So, yes, unless you've been living under a rock, I hope you haven't. I hope you've read this book and you agree with my sentiments. But if you haven't, I want to say with love, read this book, read the series, the Skyland series. It's spectacular. But I'm talking about this book in particular is book one. It's gonna bless you. Get your life. Speaking of Kennedy Ryan, okay, let's talk about real because this was I think this was the second book I read after Before I Let Go. This was a book that I read right after I finished because I was like, I love this lady's writing. What else can I read? I could have honestly read This Could Be Us, but I was like, no, I want to read something else. And this was the perfect something else because not only is it romance, but the FMC is an actress like me. And it's her love story that develops with the director of the film that she was cast in. Oh, I just want to eat it up. Now, in real life, I don't know if I'm really down for that kind of workplace romance. I'm not going to say never, but I don't know if Candace is necessarily down, but I ate it up in this book. Okay. The way Cannon loved on and advocated for Neva was chef's kiss. I loved one thing I love about Kennedy Ryan is she always does a lot of research into her writing. So she's not just writing what she's heard about the entertainment industry and actors. Like she's going in depth and doing interviews with people and learning the language to be able to tell the story accurately, which I really appreciated. So In this story, it's Neva. She's like this green up and coming actress. She's on Broadway. Cannon on the other side is looking for the lead of his film, and he's searching high and low. He can't find someone to be the lead in his film, and his buddy told him that he needs to check out this actress in this Broadway play. So he does, and it was off to the races from there. It's a cute, I guess, sort of workplace romance. There's forbidden attraction. There's a little scandal. So there's also lupus representation. The FMC Neva has lupus. So when he discovers how affected she is by the disease, he is so like on top of it, getting her family involved. There's also tension with Neva and her mother and her sister. It's just a good time. I cannot move forward without mentioning that book 2 of the Hollywood Renaissance series, Score, is coming out in May. So this is the follow-up to Real. It follows a completely new couple, but they are featured in Real. And I am so excited to read it. I am thinking about getting the indie cover and the Barnes& and Noble cover because both books have different things in them, which is kind of crazy. I never thought that I would be this kind of a book girl. I'm going to have to read the digital copy. I'm going to have to purchase a digital copy so I can read it right away when it comes out. And I'm going to have 2 physical copies of the book. I'm down bad, y'all. The next book is Fast by Millie Belizaire. Y'all, this book was the first time I read and literally had chills and my heart broke and I cried and I giggled and I felt all the things. So, trigger warning, this book does deal with abuse with the FMC, but not through the MMC. It's through her uncle. And the great thing about this book is it's like a friends to lovers, but it journeys Caprice's story from when she was a little girl. She's living in her grandmother's house. Her mother is recently deceased. And she meets her next door neighbor, Sean, and they've been basically inseparable since. He's this star athlete, he's a basketball player, and he just sees something in her that makes her undeniable. Like he can't not be around her. He's so fiercely protective of her, especially when she goes through her abuse, when he finds out what happened to her. The beautiful aspect of this book is how she's able to overcome. It's not just in getting the love that she deserves, but the life that she deserves. Once she's on the 20 years later side of things, she's gainfully employed, she's released from the shackles of her family and that trauma, and she's in a space to really receive Sean and receive the love that he has to offer. So I definitely recommend this book. It was one of my favorite reads of 2024. If you haven't gotten into it, bump it up, but also take care of yourself. Check your triggers. The next book I want to tell you guys about is Only for the Weak by Natasha Bishop. This is one of the first books that I read as well. I distinctly remember this was the first book I believe I read on Kindle Unlimited when I created my account. I love the story between Janelle and Roman. What's so funny is I had to look at the back of the book to catch the FMC's name, Janelle, because everybody knows Rome. Everybody know who Rome is, okay? Rome is the MMC that rented out a yacht just so that his girl could read books all day. Okay, if that's not how you come in, I don't want it. And Only for the Weak, Janelle, she is going to her sister's wedding. The caveat is her sister is marrying her ex-boyfriend. Does that sound normal to you? Does that sound okay to you? Because it don't sound right to me. And this wedding is happening in Tulum. Like, why don't you just throw salt on my wound? They are on their way to Tulum and she meets the groomsmen. And there's one in particular, the best man, Rome. He is so fine, of course. But most of all, he's like super attentive. Like he cares for her. He understands and nurtures her through this really tough time. It's just so sweet and it is spicy. But what happens in Tulum stays in Tulum. Get into it. I was on TikTok one day and I can't remember the creator's name. I'm going to see if I can find it. But she made this video just with the books and was like, these are my 5-star reads or something like that. And some of the books that I mentioned were on that list, and I saved that TikTok and read all of the recommendations that she had, and I agreed. But this book was on that list, and it was kind of crazy because it's book 4 in the series. So I read the series completely out of order. I didn't realize that it's a interconnected series where you don't need to read book 1 to read book 4. But I try to do things in order. Anywho, A Worthy Love by A.E. Valdez. This is my first A.E. Valdez read. The premise of this book is Marissa, she is in this friend group and she had did she have a one night stand with him? She does. What had happened was there was 2 other friends in the series. They got married and they were in Vegas, and Marissa and Asher were there together and they had a one night stand. And that was supposed to be that. Marissa went back home. She found herself getting caught up in a not so great situation with a man who is taken. So there's like that humiliation. And then it ends up that Asher moves to her town for a job. Like he works for his uncle, but he was placed in her city to handle a contract and he needs a place to stay. So he stays with Marissa, and it's like forced proximity, you know. Oops, we're together now. This was the first A.E. Valdez book that I read, and I've read everything that she's ever written since. So that should tell you all you need to know about this book and her writing. This next book, I don't know that I have read an MMC that made me feel the way that he does. I think he is my number 1 book husband. It is Restore Me by J.L. Seegars. I really don't have the words to describe how obsessed I am with this book. The rest of the books in the series are phenomenal. They're spectacular. They're so good. But this is always the one for me. This will always be the one that I come back to. There's Sloan. She's the FMC. She recently became a widow, like within the last 2 years. So she's mourning the death of her husband. And in the midst of that, she has to deal with his best friend that just always has the nastiest attitude towards her. And he's always like such a smart aleck, just sort of attitude when it comes to her. And she could never figure out why, but she's not the type to, take it and not dish it back. She's going to give you some too. And she does. So that creates a lot of tension between her and Dominic. Meanwhile, what she doesn't know is that Dominic has always been in love with her. And that is the reason why he just can't stand her, can't stand to be around her, because all of those years that she was married to his best friend, she had to watch her marry him and be in love with him when it really should have been Dominic. And it really was Dominic, because they had a moment, like the prologue in this book is, I still think about it to this day. It should have been Dominic all along. It was Dominic all along. And unfortunately, circumstances have allowed it for them to come together. So this is Enemies to Lovers. It's Second Chance at Love. I like that tension where like he hates how much he loves her so much. He hates the fact that he can't be with her. And he's like, brooding and me mugging her the whole time. But like deep down inside, he just wants to hold her and like carry her and love her. Oh, this is what dreams are made of. And I can't have the indie copy without showing you the trad copy. And this edition has the bonus wedding chapters, which are the sweetest chapters I've ever read. And it also has spice, which we love. But their wedding was everything that you would imagine it to be. So, yeah. Get into Restore Me by J.L. Seegars if you haven't already. Get up from underneath that rock and enjoy yourself. That is it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know how you feel about any of the books that I mentioned in this video. Do you plan to read any of them? Have you read them? What do you think about these books? Let's talk about it in the comments. And as always, stay booked.